You know, when I film videos about fandoms, I like to wear a shirt associated with the fandom, but for some sin against God, I do not own a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirt. But this green kind of fits, so it works. Hey there. So, I am a big Ninja Turtles fan, and with the new one coming out, I've just been thinking a lot about the Ninja Turtles and honestly how I would write the Ninja Turtles if I had the chance to write a movie series. And after putting in a few days worth of thought, this is what I've come up with. First off, it is going to be a four movie series, quadrilogy. I don't know what you would call it. Originally, I was thinking of doing a trilogy, but I think that four would work better. One for the everything I want to put in, and two, that way each movie can focus on a turtle and be about each individual turtle growing and maturing through the series. So, the first one will focus on Leonardo as our turtle for this movie. And it'll be a pretty simple one. We're going to start out with Shredder, of course, as our villain. And I haven't really thought much about specific plots, just setting, villain, stuff like that. So in this movie, they meet April, we learn their backstories, and this is where they start becoming a team, and it's Leonardo's journey into learning to become a leader. It'll end with Shredder being defeated, but not entirely so. Maybe I will put in a little end credit scene showing that he is still out there and ready for revenge. I mean, to be quite honest, despite all the movies that we've had so far of the Ninja Turtles, the first one, I believe, had Shredder as the main villain. Michael Bay had somebody like the Shredder as the villain. I'm sure Shredder will be the villain of the first movie. And people might be like, oh, you're getting boring. It's like putting Joker as the first one in every single Batman movie. But I feel like you just can't go wrong with the Shredder. He has to be the Turtles' first villain. On to the sequel, we will be focusing on Donatello. And in this one, we will have the Mousers as our antagonists, and obviously Baxter, who creates the Mousers. They will be the villains, and this will also be our introduction to Casey. He will be in this. To be honest, I don't really know what I want for. Oh my god, I almost say Leonardo. What I want for Donatello's character arc. Probably something with confidence or learning to look at stuff from another angle, maybe, instead of going, no, I don't know about that either. Donatello is a hard one for me, but I could definitely think of something as I was developing it more. But I like the idea of him hitting a block in his knowledge. These Mousers are something that he can't figure out, and he has to find a new solution to fixing them. Well, not fixing them, but like fixing the problem that they're causing the turtles. Our third movie will be focusing on my favorite turtle. I grew up loving Michelangelo, and this one will be about him. And it will also be taking place in space. Kinda. It'll be mostly in New York, but there'll be a little bit of space action. Now you're probably thinking that it should be Krang. Like, yeah, Krang's a pretty popular villain, and it would be a good choice. But if you've seen my other video, you know that I am obsessed with the Triceratons. And I could try and fit Krang into like a fifth one, but I don't think this needs five movies, so we're gonna go Triceratons because I love the Triceratons and it'll be a whole lot of fun. So there'll be like some taking place in like the Triceraton homeworld, and that's where the turtles are gonna end up, while we have Splinter, Casey, and April dealing with the issues back on Earth, and it'll be kind of like split up and all that. And this movie is about Mikey learning maturity and how his kind of immature behavior ends up being a detriment to the team and putting his brothers in danger more often than not. They are in unfamiliar territory with unfamiliar technology and unfamiliar villains. They need to take this seriously. And over the course of the movie, Mikey learns to take stuff more seriously, and that is his story arc. And there'll be like a whole big thing at the end where like they need to like work together, the turtles and the Triceraton homeworld, which I can't remember the name of, and Splinter and the humans doing stuff on Earth and back and forth together, blah, 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 and then it, you know, they save the day, but not with like any of that silly like kill the main bad guy and all the underlings just magically die for some reason. But still, it would be epic and fun, and I think that would be a really good movie. But the fourth movie, Raphael's movie, you're gonna hate me for. But I think it'll be worth it. I kind of hate the idea too, but I like it too much story wise. Let's just get into it. So we have the return of Splinter, who does make like a couple like there's a couple references to him in the other movies, but he's the full-fledged villain again and he's out for revenge. And this is Raphael's movie to learn to stop being so emotionally driven and well, not emotionally driven. Just don't let his emotions control him, but control those emotions to pack a powerful punch, so that he can learn not to just lash out and let his emotions take control, but to take control of his emotions and let that be his inner strength. And this is where you're gonna hate me, guys, because when he's at his lowest point, Shredder kills Splinter. Splinter dies in the fourth movie, and it breaks everybody down. And I'm gonna kind of have like Casey also like very emotional about this, and he's going to represent Raphael's anger in this, and he's gonna be the one that's like driving Raphael to be more emotional because he's emotional. He's angry this happened, and Raphael's kind of like feeding off that. But then like you have like his brothers, especially Leonardo, like trying to like show a calmness and like we can't do this. And Raph is angry. He is so angry. He wants to just go in and destroy everything he sees, but he can hear Splinter. Like he can hear everything Splinter has ever said to him, reminding him to stay focused, stay in control. And he realizes that just going in with blind anger is only going to hurt his brothers just like it hurt Splinter. I kind of like the idea of Splinter dying trying to protect one of his sons. So, especially if that's Raph, it is. That's peak story for me. But yeah, Raphael learns to control his anger and direct it, and eventually they take out Splinter for good. Oh god, I misspoke. They take out Shredder for good. They take out Shredder for good. It'll end with like a soft little like funeral scene, everybody coming together in mourning and this and that. And I also like the idea of the turtles finally being able to leave the sewer and be one with New York. Probably around the second or third movie, they will have exposed themselves to the above world. I don't know what to call the streets. Yeah, and they would be hit with like a backlash, but now they're like fully accepted into society and something beautiful like that. Now, I know in more recent iterations, April has been de-aged from an adult to about a 15-year-old, same as the Turtles. But I personally want her to be in a more, like, adult kind of atmosphere. I want her to be self-sustained and not have a parental figure to worry about in the movies. So I'm thinking of having her be about 18, 19 years old. That way she is on her own, but she's still young, still a teenager. And my backstory for her is that one of her parents, I haven't decided which one yet, was a scientist, specifically like an engineer type working with robots and all that. Um, Worked with Baxter. Yes, yes. Um, and so she grew up around all that sciencey stuff and she really liked it and she kind of got like a feel for it. So she's really smart and she knows like her way around machines and all that. But when she was younger, maybe high schoolish age, early high school, this parent disappeared. They didn't know what happened to them. Maybe I will officially confirm that that parent was killed. I don't know. I haven't thought that through yet. Like I said, I've only thought about this through a couple of days. But anyway, that changed a lot of gears in April, who was, like I said, big into engineering and science. She had to know what happened to her parent. And this led to a more journalistic point of view. Yeah, you see what I did? I tied both things together. So she is essentially a blogger when we meet her. She is blogging about the mysteries of New York and trying to bring attention to it. One thing she's talking about in the first movie that we'll see like her researching and blogging about is the Foot Clan and the danger they present. And most people think what she's talking about is like Hocus and all that. And they'll be like, when we are looking at her blog and like one of the scenes, we'll see like one of the headlines is a little nod to a future movie about some teenager with different like sports equipment going out vigilanteing. And yeah, so it's a little hint towards Casey there. And they may even like reference it in the second movie, like, hey, you're the chick that wrote about me. And like, yeah. And she says, like, oh, so you're the vigilante. And yeah, so that's kind of the whole like vibe I'm going with there. And so she stumbles upon the turtles and she wants to learn more about them. And, you know, she goes through that whole process. And that's how they meet. And then they, of course, in the second movie, meet Casey through vigilanteing and so on and so forth. The ooze is not really going to play a big part in this movie series, unlike it has been in a lot of more modern adaptations where it's like, where did the ooze come from? What does this mean? Da 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 da. They were just oozed and now they exist. It's just an explanation for their existence. We're not going to get into the whole thing. I do like the idea of them discovering pizza, which came from 2012. I would probably add that into my version of the series. Darn, I've been just standing here for a few minutes trying to remember the rest of what I came up with because I feel like there should be more. I've been thinking about this for several days and I don't have nearly as much as I was expecting. Maybe I need some more time to sit and think on this, but to be honest, unless I'm hired to write the next Ninja Turtle movies, there's not really much of a point beyond just daydreaming for funsies. But to be honest, this has been a pretty fun daydream, and I'm pretty glad that I got to share it with you guys. I hope you enjoyed my vision as much as I enjoyed my vision. I guess let's just go back to daydreaming for right now. And you too, have fun letting your mind explore the infinite possibilities that it can. And until next time, I will see you later.